Good afternoon. I want to thank all of you for joining us in person and online for Washington's annual Worker Memorial Day ceremony. My name is Joel Sachs, and I'm the director of the Washington State Department of Labor and Industries. I want to welcome all of you here to LNI, and especially I want to welcome the families of the fallen workers that we honor today and all of your guests. To start today's activities, I'm going to ask you to please rise for the posting of the colors and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Scott Bridge. Right. Quick. Mark.
Freeze, man. Oh.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hold her. Oh. Play. Hold her. Oh.
Please be seated. Joining us now to give today's invocation is Jeffrey Jones, the chaplain and religious coordinator at the Washington State Department of Corrections Center in Little Rock.
Good afternoon. Shall we pray? We are thankful for this day that you have given us, for its blessings, its opportunities. May we appreciate and use each moment. We pray for strength and guidance as we take time to remember our loved ones. Cover us with your love, that each passing day will bring us more joy. May we never forget, and may we be assured of your presence with us. In the name of all that is righteous, we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Jones. To each of you who lost a loved one to a workplace injury or illness, we offer our deepest condolences today. Today's ceremony is dedicated to honoring your lost family members. I'm privileged to welcome Governor Jay Inslee, who will be speaking with us in a few minutes, and First Lady Trudy. I also welcome members of the Governor's Cabinet, elected officials, former LNI directors to today's ceremony. We also welcome and appreciate all of today's guest speakers. And a thank you to our sign language interpreters, as well as our Korean, Spanish, and Ukrainian interpreters. For all of you that are here today to honor a loved one, let me just share a quick overview of today's ceremony. We're going to start by hearing from the governor and then from leaders from both business and organized labor. We'll then welcome a very special guest who will share the depth and personal loss from a family member's perspective. Next, we'll honor your loved ones by reading their names and ringing a bell. After our formal ceremony, we invite you to join us in our memorial garden where you will have an opportunity to ring the state's memorial bell and to share a story in memory of the person you're here to honor, if you'd like. Chaplain Jones, the words you shared remind me of the importance of all of us coming together like we have today. As part of coming together, I want to welcome some very special members of our L&I community who are here with us today. First, I want to welcome our L&I pension adjudicators who help families through an incredibly difficult time. I also want to welcome our L&I safety and health officers who have the incredibly hard job to investigate workplace deaths, to figure out what went wrong, and what can we do to prevent it from ever happening again. Please accept my sincerest gratitude for the incredibly hard and important work that each of you do each and every day. Each of the 93 individuals we honor today were people living their best lives. They were supporting their families, playing soccer, going fishing, making their workplaces, making their communities a better place. You know, it's easy to talk about the importance of keeping Washington safe and working, but it truly takes a daily commitment and incredibly strong leadership to make that a reality. And that's why I'm honored and privileged to introduce our leader, someone that I know from firsthand experience works tirelessly each and every day to keep workers and workplaces across Washington safe. One small demonstration of that commitment. I'm so grateful that Governor Inslee has attended every Worker Memorial Day that we've held in the 12 years since he's been in office. So please join me in welcoming Governor Jay Inslee.
Thank you, Joel, and we would look forward to the day when we don't have any losses in this memorial as something in the past. I want to thank your leadership, Joel, for your work in every day and your team to try to reduce our losses. I'm here on behalf of about just under 8 million Washingtonians to honor you and your loved ones and to embrace you with the heartfelt empathy that we feel for your losses. We know that it doesn't matter when they happen, but it's still fresh in your lives. And we just want to show that you're loved and respected in the state of Washington. And the respect for your loved ones that have been lost come from, not totally unique, unfortunately, but the time and method of their passing. It doesn't matter what they were doing, they were helping somebody. They were helping us be fed, they were helping us be clothed, they were helping us have a place to live. You know, we all have a moment where we pass to the next adventure, but your loved ones were actually doing something for people. And we want to thank them for their commitments to others, no matter what their job was. And unfortunately, this is something that affects virtually every career in our state. This year, we've lost farm workers, truck drivers, firefighters, and business owners. And that's why we are so attentive and intentional to try to reduce risk in every single job classification that we can. Now, we've felt every loss is painful. This year, losing Erin Peterson, who's a biologist for our Department of Fish and Wildlife, was particularly painful, who drowned during the course of her duties. And I know she was an extremely dedicated professional to her commitment to keeping our fish and game abundant and accessible for the people of the state of Washington. This was a particular loss that we feel deeply in the state family. Kelly Sussman and Amy Windrop are here on her behalf, and we want to honor her along with every other family. This memorial that we do has an obvious purpose, but maybe not an obvious purpose. The obvious purpose is we want to demonstrate the state's empathy for the losses that the families have suffered. The non-obvious purpose is that we want to use this as a reminder that we should continue our efforts to do everything humanly possible to reduce these losses of accidents and death on the job site. And this memorial serves to do that every single year, to continue to inspire us to greater efforts. And we have had some greater efforts. In the last year or so, we passed a bill that will allow speed cameras in our work zones, because our state employees who are working on the shoulder of the road are exposed to a lot of hazards, of course, so we got the legislature bill to have speed cameras to get people to slow down. We've passed, I think, the nation's first rule regarding heat for agricultural workers. And unfortunately, those folks have always worked in the heat. Now with climate change, it's becoming more and more of a profound problem. And we are always looking for ways to reduce these risks, and will continue to do so. So I want to thank you for being here, and I can tell you it is a help to remind people of why we should continue to be as creative, innovative as possible. So in closing, I want to tell you, with all your loss, you're not alone. Washington is with you. Thank you for what your loved one did for our state. Thank you.
Governor, thank you for your visionary leadership and your absolute commitment to protecting workers everywhere across our great state. Worker Memorial Day events are occurring in communities throughout the country and really throughout the world. But here in Washington, as some of you know, our ceremony is a little bit different from others. Ours is designed as a joint observance that includes government, organized labor, and the business community. Being together symbolizes Washington's cooperative approach to ensuring safe workplaces. Our next speakers exemplify that cooperation as they represent both workers and employers. First, we're going to hear from April Sims. April is the president of the Washington State Labor Council, AFL-CIO. It's the largest labor organization in the state, representing more than 550,000 workers across our state. After April, we'll hear from Bob Battles. Bob is the general counsel and government affairs director of the Association of Washington Business. It's the oldest and largest statewide business organization, representing nearly 7,000 members. And then we'll hear from Chris Teft. Chris is the executive director and general counsel of the Washington Self-Insurers Association. The association includes more than 400 major public and private sector employers. Chris also is a member of the board of directors for Kids Chance. Kids Chance supports the families of Washington workers who have been seriously injured or have died in a work-related incident or illness. Please now join me in welcoming April.
Thank you, Joel. And good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is April Sims. My pronouns are she and her, and I have the privilege of serving as president of the Washington State Labor Council, AFL-CIO. And on behalf of the State Labor Council's more than 600 unions and more than 500,000 workers, thank you for inviting us to be here today. For more than a century, the labor movement has led the struggle for safe and healthy workplaces, both in our union contracts and in our public policy. And today is a day that we remind ourselves that this struggle is far from over. Each year on Workers' Memorial Day, we hear grim statistics about the thousands of people who died from on-the-job injuries and the many more who died from diseases related to their work. But today, rather than focus on those numbers, I invite you to take a moment to think about the families who lost a loved one this way. It's hard enough to endure the loss of a loved one, a parent, a child, a sibling, a partner, a friend. But it's even worse to live with the knowledge that the loss was preventable. The fight for workplace health and safety is guided by a simple idea, that every workplace fatality or injury is avoidable, that these losses are preventable. Whether the result of an ignored hazard, an extraordinary circumstance, a disregarded safety procedure, or even a careless mistake, it didn't have to happen. The hazard could have been identified, the circumstance avoided, the regulation enforced, the carelessness recognized. And yes, accidents happen, but every single accident needs to be analyzed to make sure that it doesn't happen again. It's about facing our failures and learning from them. So today, in recognizing these lost workers, we also recognize our failures. It's hard to do, but it is critical that the names we read today be more than just statistics. My pledge to all of you here is that Washington's labor movement will not stop fighting for safe workplaces, that every Washingtonian, every worker has the right to come home safely from their job at the end of the day. And today we remind ourselves that there is still more to be done. Today we mourn the dead and we continue to fight for the living. May the families find peace and comfort in the memories of their lost ones. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Bob Battles with the Association of Washington Business. It is an honor and privilege to speak with you today, even though the reason we are here today is heartbreaking. On behalf of the business community, I want to extend my sympathies and prayers. Every year, we take part in this ceremony. It is my hope that it will be the last one. Yet we're here marking 93 lives. There is nothing I can say today that will take away your loss. My faith says that they are in a better place, but that does not erase the pain. As I prepared to read the names of the fallen workers, I find myself looking inward to see why did it happen and how can we prevent it from happening again. And I appreciate what April said. I was reminded by my friend Chris Teft, who will be speaking to you as well, of something I said several years ago at an earlier memorial work service. It applies to coworkers and neighbors and porches. And the message is still relevant today, so I want to share just a little bit of that message. We all, with all the speed of technology and all the advancements around us, it is the people that matter the most. We must value, above all things, our coworkers who are like our neighbors. They come in and out of our lives daily. Have we been a good neighbor to our coworkers? How can we do a better job? And then I mentioned porches. Most newer homes don't have porches, but the older homes do. Neighbors used to sit on the porch and greet our neighbors. Now we sit inside our homes and barely acknowledge our neighbors. We even acknowledge they don't even exist. Work has become the same. We clock in and clock out. We are so focused on what we're doing that we forget the people in the next office, cubicle, workbench, or job site. They are unique individuals with a story. Do not wait until it's too late to get to know your coworkers, your neighbors. Ask them about their families. They're sitting in this room right now. Be the coworker, the neighbor that you want to have around. When we know our coworkers like neighbors, we take personal interest and responsibility to make sure that they are safe. We make safety a priority. Safety must be the first thing on your mind when you get to work, and it's the last thing that you think of at the end of the day. It must be a priority for everyone. There are no exceptions, and everyone is responsible for it. Before I go, I want to thank the L&I workers and the first responders. You are there during some of the most difficult times, and you're not appreciated enough. We are better and safer because you are in our lives. Thank you again for allowing me to share my thoughts. On behalf of AWB and the thousands of employers we represent, thank you and God bless you all.
Well, thank you to the Department of Labor and Industries and to the families of the loved ones that we're honoring today for the extreme honor of being able to stand with you here and share some words on this important occasion. As a representative of the employer community, I want to express my sincerest condolences to the families who have endured the profound loss of a loved one. Your loved one and each worker lost, I find myself in complete agreement with President Sims, who said this a moment ago. They are not a statistic. They are a beloved family member, a friend, a colleague. Their legacy reminds us that it is our shared responsibility to ensure that every worker returns home safely at the end of each day. Simply put, we need to do better. As you're hearing, this work is not done alone. Collaboration between employers, regulatory agencies, labor unions, and government officials is essential to achieving our common goal of preventing workplace tragedies and fostering a culture where the well-being of every employee is paramount. That, to me, is what we recommit ourselves to here today. I would also like to take a moment to mention another important and related collaboration between employers and employees, and that is Kids Chance of Washington. Kids Chance of Washington is a nonprofit organization entirely supported by volunteers and their charitable contributions that provides needs-based scholarships to higher education and to career and technical education and apprenticeships to the families of workers who lost their lives or became permanently disabled at work. Since its founding over 20 years ago, Kids Chance has awarded over $700,000 in scholarships to 173 families in our state and is truly helping to improve lives touched by tragedy. If you would like more information about Kids Chance of Washington scholarships, there is a table of information outside and some volunteers on site today. And for those of my colleagues in the workplace safety and workers' compensation space who, in their personal capacity, may be interested in volunteering or learning more about Kids Chance, I'm sure that the volunteers out there would love to talk about that as well. But hopefully that's an organization, a collaboration between business and labor that could be of use to some of the families here today. Again, thank you for the honor of being here and remembering your family and loved ones.
Chris, Bob, April, I want to thank you for your thoughts that you shared today, and even more importantly, I want to thank you for your partnership and your commitment to working collaboratively toward addressing workplace safety. It's now my honor to introduce our next speaker, Barbara Bojang, mother of Demetrius Sellers, better known as Michi. He was one of two people that died on July 4th, 2022, when a dirt pile above a trench in which they were working collapsed. There are specific steps that have to be taken to prevent incidents like this. Now, we know when those steps aren't taken, we've seen it all too often. The results are just tragic and can be fatal. Barbara is here with us today to share a little bit of the impact on families and friends and those left behind after such tragic, preventable incidents occur. Please join me in welcoming Barbara.
Thank you. First, I would like to say my prayers and condolences to everyone who have lost a loved one due to labor or illness on the job. I know too well what it feels like to lose someone that you love deeply. This is a picture of my son, Demetrius Sellers. The last time that I spoke with my son, Demetrius, was on July the 3rd, 2022 at 9:15 p.m. He told me that he had just arrived home from work. I did not know that that would be the last time that I spoke with him or seen him. On July the 4th, I tried to call him around 9:30 a.m. in the morning and was not able to reach him. July the 4th, that was his favorite time of the year. I later received a call from my sister Janie telling me that something had happened at the work site and that she would meet me there. When I arrived there at the location in Shoreline, a firefighter met me. I asked him, "Can you please tell me if my son was okay?" He informed me that there were two males in a collapsed trench, and both males were deceased. I could not believe what I heard was real. I screamed, I cried, no. I fell onto someone's lawn. My heart was hurting and still in so much pain. It was a very, very risky recovery to get his body. There was no trench box in place. Both bodies were 20 feet deep. My family and I, we waited until his body was recovered on 4:10 a.m. on July the 6th. He was born on the 4th month, the 10th day. After his body was recovered, we thank every firefighter, every construction worker. We stayed there and shook hands with them. My son was loved so much by his family. The poem that my sister Janie chose that she shared was called Broken Chain. Our lives have forever changed. He was quiet, always smiling. He loved working and helping others, especially his 81-year-old grandmother. He loved and he enjoyed watching the Seahawks play. He used to play football when he was younger. So he loved watching D.K. Metcalf play football. He would always say, Mom, did you see that? He was the person that would go above and beyond so that you were happy with whatever you were doing. And as I followed the news, on September the 7th, 2022, a 36-year-old male in Renton was killed when the dirt walls of the trench collapsed and buried him 20 feet deep. That was exactly 2 months and 3 days after my son's death. Safety should be first. Danger is growing. I'm asking what can be done to keep these construction workers and other labor job workers safe? What is the plan that has been implemented for safety? These memorials do not have to continue to rise. Our loved one's death is not a story of their life. And I'm asking each and everyone, keep your loved one's story alive, and may God bless each of you.
Barbara, thank you. Thank you for your words. Thank you for your sentiment. And thank you for your courage to be with us here today. Many of the honored families provided photos of their fallen heroes. We're going to now share them on screen and online, accompanied by a musical tribute featuring some members of the Tumwater High School notables.
So many bumps and bruises, but sometimes good becomes of bad. I'll take my lumps and learn to face what's given me. I never wanted broken, but broken had to come. It's all so very clear to me, but now I see the sun. I never wanted broken. I never wanted pain. I never wanted broken, but broken had to come. It's all so very clear to me, but now I see the sun. But now I see the sun. And now I see the sun.
To all of our singers from Tumwater High School, thank you for that beautiful music. Can you join me in another round of applause? So now it's time for the traditional ringing of the bell and the reading of the names of the fallen workers. Each name that you hear read today represents a person, but even more than that, represents a family, represents a community. Joining April and Bob and Chris in the reading of the names are Steve Yunker from L&I's Division of Occupational Safety and Health, and Chris Wynn from L&I's Insurance Services Division. The memorial bell ringers are Chris Ross with the Lacey Fire Department and Mark Armstrong from the Tumwater Fire Department.
Donna R. Allison, 59, attendance counselor. Eric A. Baker, 51, general laborer. Kim L. Barton, 48, radiation control technician. Ruslan Basarab, 49, truck driver. Pirejite Bikiwi, 36, crop scientist. Esmeraldo R. Bobadilla, 62, aircraft sealer. John W. Carr, 70, truck driver. Samuel S. Cartmel, 34, environmental engineer. Lawrence R. Cash, 62, ranch hand. Walter M. Castilla, 82, chemical nuclear operator. Charles Chad T. Kate II, 46, firefighter. Charles W. Clayton Jr., 77, saw filer. Joseph K. Cole, 60, winery manager. Michael D. Capres, 68, vehicle mechanic. Paul L. Courier, 75, logger. Jimmy W. Kurtzinger, 77, saw filer. Clayton E. Daniker, 66, carpenter. Angela C. Delgado, 55, nurse.
Levi J. DeLong, 36, tree trimmer. Katie A. Dunk, 37, bartender. Drew Ike, 51, logger. Bryson Fitch, 23, crab fisherman. Faustino Flores Rodriguez, 54, farm operator. Robert L. Fowler, 67, aircraft assembly inspector. Adriana L. Freeman, 34, cargo operator. Asiano Garcia Castillo, 44, farm laborer. Lester R. George, 85, truck driver. Shane L. Gooding, 49, truck driver. Charles Chuck Groff, 70, firefighter. James M. Harding, 76, newspaper foreman. Dennis Hickthayer, 68, truck driver. Jessica Hahn, 36, bartender. Bert Tig A. Holmes, 44, vehicle mechanic. Nicholas Nick Eisenhart, 39, business owner. Wendell R. Jacobs, 76, logger. Heidi Yeager, 48, sales director.
Mark D. Jelinek, 71, carpenter. Jesus Antonio Jimenez, 70, truck driver. David Jones, 60, construction worker. Hansu Kim, 58, business owner. Aaron L. Ladu, 53, home care aide. Danny E. Lagarde, Sr., 71, truck driver. Ronald R. Lershall, 55, nuclear safety engineer. Daniel Lopez, 66, construction worker. Patrick Pat Mabin, 59, business owner. Douglas J. Martirassian, 25, plant caretaker. Robert L. May, 84, asbestos technician. Sean McCool, 32, arborist. Gary R. McKinnett, 87, pipe fitter. Sergio Rolando Mejia Perez, 30, roofer. James R. Monarco, 53, tow truck driver. Ashley A.J. J. Morris, 41, construction worker. Jeremiah H. O'Neill, 45, millwright. Gilberto Padilla, 50, irrigator.
Sock Charlie Park, 60, business owner. Robert M. Perkins, 52, business owner. Aaron D. Peterson, 31, biologist. Gerald Jerry L. Plato, Sr., 58, delivery driver. Jerry F. Posey, Sr., 66, electrician. Raymond Ray D. Powell, 71, driver. Jose M. Reyes Silva, 66, farm worker. David Gus L. Ridley, 83, welder. Richard Rick F. Reinhold, 64, agricultural project manager. Christina E. Robinson, 58, nuclear environmentalist. Paul A. Rockwell, 75, salesman, service technician. Oscar Rodriguez Oliveira, 45, farm worker. Magdaleno Rodriguez Oliveras, carpenter. Victor N. Rubio, 59, tree trimmer. Jesse L. Rumsey, 57, pipe fitter. Robert Bo L. Scheimer, 46, firefighter. Jorge Segundo, 42, farm worker. Robert F. Shambhala, 63, construction worker.
Brian D. Sherman, 51, truck driver. James W. Shirey, 52, millwright. Daryl Shreve, 66, operations specialist. Douglas G. Smith, 72, truck driver. J. A. Solberg, 63, truck driver. Michael A. Sparrowgrove, 63, environmental scientist. Jeffrey A. Still, 54, construction supervisor. Eugenio L. Torres, 51, tire repairman. Jose Torres Cabrera, 50, logger. Raymond R. Tungate, 72, logger. Joe E. Valdez, Jr., 64, health physics technician. Alvin D. Vaughn, 61, firefighter. Jose Velez, 43, business owner. Anna L. Vetter, 27, carpenter. Michael F. Wall, 61, health physics technician. Jed D. Walters, 51, arborist. Randall Bubba J. Washut, 61, agricultural applicator. David J. Welch, 77, business owner. Daniel R. Williams, 33, roofer. Michelle J. Williams, 61, firefighter. John R. Wilson, 72, carpenter.
If you will, please join me in a moment of silence to remember these fallen workers. For the past 31 years, we've gathered together like this to honor Washington's fallen workers. This ceremony is incredibly and deeply important to all of us here at LNI, and especially to me, because this day, Worker Memorial Day, was my first day on the job here in Washington State. Attending this ceremony had an incredibly strong impression on me. It showed me the importance of this organization's mission, the need for our work, and the value of taking a moment to pause, to reflect, and most importantly, to recommit to promoting workplace safety and health around the state. I ask you to reflect with me on the names and the lives of the fallen workers that we honor this year. We can see they're as diverse as our great state. Bryson Fitch was lost at sea while working as a deckhand on a crab fishing vessel. Bryson was 23 years old. He was the youngest of those we honor today. At the other end of the spectrum is Gary McKennett, a pipe fitter who died at age 87 from exposure to asbestos. We heard a wide range of occupations read today. Today we honor 12 people who died as a result of occupational related illness after working to clean up nuclear waste in our state. The names that we just heard read worked in so many different industries: agriculture, construction, firefighters, just to name a few. The causes of these fatalities were both diverse and predictable. Again, this year, vehicle accidents and falls accounted for far too many of these tragic losses. As we reflect upon these causes, I invite you to consider what we've heard from our speakers today. There's one thing that the causes had in common. Each and every one of them were preventable. It reminds us of the importance of focusing together on workplace safety and health. Now, I believe that if there's any place where making workplaces safer can and should happen, it's here in our great state of Washington. Worker safety is truly woven into the fabric of our culture. Washington State is the only state that considered worker safety so basic, so fundamental, that it's actually part of our state constitution. Back in 1924, 100 years ago, L&I determined one of the best ways to avoid workplace injuries and death is to ensure employers establish safety committees. A century later, that's still critically important, and we know that that can make a difference. The reason to form safety committees is incredibly simple and straightforward. It's to bring organizations together to talk about those things that can cause injury and illness to workers and to figure out how to prevent them from happening. That's really been the basic goal of safety committees over these past 100 years, and I know that it'll continue to be the goal for the next 100. As I think about it, safety committees and this ceremony have a lot in common. It's about bringing people together to focus, but also to recommit. To focus, to recommit on a simple concept: preventing workplace injuries and illnesses. Now, I know that we've made great gains in the past century since the safety committee requirement began. And I know that workplaces are safer today than they were 100 years ago. Yet today's ceremony, I hope, helps us pause and reflect that there's still more that we can do. Workplaces simply are not as safe as they could be. And I say that's the challenge for all of us, for business, for labor, for government. We come together today to recommit to preventing workplace injuries, illnesses, and death, so that next year and the year after that and the year after that, the bell that we heard today will toll fewer times, until finally we can come together for 1 year when the bell simply falls silent. Now, I know that I speak for all of us here at L&I when I say to all of the families that we recommit to keep the bell silent. Simply put, that's our pledge. Even when we make gains, we can't be satisfied. We cannot, we will not, we must not rest as long as workers are hurt or workers are killed on the job. Chaplain Jones will now rejoin us for the benediction.
I leave you today with an ancient blessing. If there's righteousness in the heart, there will be beauty in the character. If there's beauty in the character, there will be harmony in the home. If there's harmony in the home, there will be order in the nation. If there's order in the nation, there will be peace in the world. So let it be. May the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Jones. I also want to offer my thanks to all of you who participated and planned today's Worker Memorial Day tribute. Most importantly, I want to thank all of you, the family members and friends who joined us today in the auditorium and online to remember your loved ones. We've added each of their names to our memorial book that you see here today. This book is on permanent display in our rotunda here in our building. It's a daily reminder to each of us as we come to work each day of everything that we are committed to doing. If you have family members or friends who couldn't be here in person or could not watch online, we'll have the option of watching a replay on our website. And now we're going to be wrapping up our formal program. And what I want to do is invite all of you to join us in our memorial garden as we continue today's ceremony. In the garden, you'll see our memorial bell generously donated by the Washington Building and Construction Trades Council. Family members, friends, we welcome you to ring the bell, and if you'd like, take a moment and share a little bit about your loved one with us. Now, I realize that the weather outside might not be ideal, so we do have tents that we've put up, and we also have umbrellas available. After the ceremony in the garden, I want to invite you to come back here into the auditorium for refreshments. But for now, as we wrap up, if you leave the auditorium and turn right, and then turn left to go outside to the garden, it's a short walk, and we'll have staff members en route to help you and guide you to the right direction. Most importantly, again, I want to thank you all for being here today. Thank you for pausing, reflecting, recommitting, and I look forward to seeing you outside.